Hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Thank you again so much for tuning in to another awesome, amazing podcast episode here at Brian's Place. I pray that you all are doing wonderful and having an excellent, productive, blessed, wonderful day. So, today I wanted to talk about the process of isolation. Sometimes in life we have these seasons of isolation that we must go through. And it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always seem right. Sometimes we can allow ourselves to become so used to like reaching out for help or just having people around or doing things, going here or going there, doing things. But there are times, and I believe seasons, where God will isolate us. So let's get more into that. So I was doing some research and about germination. So germination is when a seed is planted in the ground and germination happens. So germination is the process in which a seed changes from a state of dormancy to a growing living plant. So germination, what happens in the process of germination is that a seed goes from just being a seed to becoming a living plant. But the only way that germination can take place is that the seed must be isolated. It must be in the soil. If you're holding a seed in your hand, a seed is not just going to start germinating while it's in its hand. So germination, the seed first has to be isolated in the ground, in the soil. And it's in that time of isolation that uh, the seed is anchored and the roots come forth and the roots begin to grow, and the seed begins to grow into this living plant. And before you know it, it springs forth. But what causes it to spring forth, what the beauty of the beautiful side that you see with it springing forth and all the lilies and the flowers and all that, it starts with the not so beautiful side of it being like surrounded in darkness, of it being like surrounded in the soil. But that's where it takes place. So this, I just wanted to come on here real quick just to share an encouraging word that for some of you, you may feel like you're being isolated. It may feel like God has you on timeout, but it's not necessarily because of anything you've done bad, but maybe he's separating you because there's more in you that he wants to come out. And maybe the only way for it to come out, for him to bring it forth, is for to isolate you, to separate you, to allow you just to be alone. So many times in life we it's easy to get caught up in doing this, doing that, got to go here, got to go there, got to do this, got to take care of this, got to take care of that. And it's like, sometimes, we have to, God will slow us down to get our attention. And he's like, slow down, know that I've got you, but slow down. And so just be encouraged that it may not feel good, it may not look good, but it's for your good. It may not feel good, it may not look good, but know that it's for your good. It may not seem like anything's happening, but know that there's things germinating within you. God is at work within you, whether you feel like it or whether you can see it. That doesn't take away from the fact that God is at work within you. So just wanted to come on here and just like encourage you, like like it's part of the process. The seed is just a seed unless it goes into the ground, surrounded by dirt, surrounded by a bunch of soil, and but it's for the good. The seed needs that time of isolation so it can grow into what is called into what God has ordained it for it to be. And sometimes we need those seasons where isolation happens so God can bring forth the more there's so much more in you than he meets the eye, so he can bring forth the rich treasures that he's placed in you. So I just wanted to come on here real quick and just remind you, like, it's for your good, you know. um it is for your good. Germination, that's the word, germination. You know, you're not buried, you're planted. You are not buried, you are planted. The circumstances may seem real close to you being buried, but you are not being buried, you're being planted, because there's so much more God wants to, you know, bring forth out of you. And sometimes, you know, we're around there's always so much noise around us. And sometimes, you know, God has to separate us so he can get our ear. You know, a lot of things strive for our attention, whether it's other people or noise or situations, or and there's all these things going on. He needs our attention to, like, I got you. I need you to be still. So just y'all be encouraged and know that it's, again, it may not look good, it may not feel good, but know that it's for your good and it will be all worth it before you know it. Oh, and it's also in germination when the roots are anchored. So it's in that secret time that you begin to grow closer with God, and with where you begin to be anchored in his word and anchor in his love for you. And when you're anchored in God's love, when you are anchored in God's love, when you spring forth, you stay covered in God's love, saturated in God's love. You are able to look at things through the perspective of God's love, and it literally changes the trajectory of your life. I'm a living testament to that. Like, God's love is so amazing, and it's one thing to read about, okay, love is patient, love is kind. For God so loved the world that he gave. Yeah, love, 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 love. Okay, I know this, I know that. Love, what good is doing all these things if there's no love involved? But when that type of love becomes a part of your reality, when that type of love becomes a part of the lens at which you look through life through, it's like, wow, the love of God. That's what's up. Y'all be encouraged. Y'all be blessed. And as always, this is BDP Brian David Porter, living in purpose, on purpose, intentionally. Love y'all to life. I love y'all to life. When I say I love y'all to life, I love you to life. You know how people say, I love you to death. I'm just like, no, I love you to life. So I pray that my existence in your life will somehow make your life better, So in some way, shape, form, fashion. So love y'all to life, living in purpose, on purpose, intentionally. Y'all be blessed.